Boss, the plane! The plane! Welcome to Fantasy Island. Yet another video about the Piffle-Peddlers and what they've been up to recently. Not much as usual, lots and lots of this. Very little action, zero evidence as always. Now, Lou Elizondo's book has been delayed yet again. I think I probably predicted that, didn't I? Because they're his publishers are going to be sweating buckets because they've been promised a book based on fact that would no doubt be a bestseller, and it's occurring to them that what they're going to be getting is in fact a science fiction novel co-written by Hans Christian Andersen. Maybe the maybe the delay is because Lou Elizondo can't book enough of Mr. Hans Christian Andersen's time. You know, Hans Christian Andersen, you probably know, is the most prolific writer of fairy tales in recent history. In the last 200 years, anyway. It's going to be it's going to be another Philip Corso. It's going to be another Philip Corso debacle. Military memoir seeded with a lot of science fiction rubbish. That's all it's going to be. So it's going to be delayed and delayed and delayed. They're going to be saying, "Where is it, Lou? Where is it? We're waiting for our money. We're waiting for this factual bestseller." And he's going, "Oh God, what the hell am I going to put? What am I going to put in this book? You know?" And allegedly, he's been claiming experiences of others. So he's desperately clutching at straws to find something that the publishers might think would be interesting to put into this book. And as I've said before, probably on more than one occasion, I hope, just in case I'm not going to buy a copy obviously, but in case I do get hold of a copy, you know, maybe in the $2 bookshop, you know, once someone's read it and said this is a load of rubbish and sold it for $5 or for a couple of bucks, I might pick one up. But I hope he doesn't make the pages too shiny, because this book is going to be arse paper, isn't it? It's going to be destined for the smallest room in the house. So apparently he's been apparently Elizondo's been saying that he's been told by people, no names, that Arrow wanted to prosecute David Grush for coming forward. He's been told this. Arrow have been trying to get hold of Grush, and Elizondo is sort of insinuating they wanted to get hold of him so they could prosecute him. Now, personally, I think this is complete and utter rubbish. I'm sure that comes as no surprise to you. I mean, if you were going to be prosecuted by a government agency for something, so Inland Revenue, the tax people, you know, do you think you would have to go and see them in order to be to be prosecuted? They'll just send you a subpoena. So, you know, if they wanted to prosecute Grush, they would have sent him a subpoena. They would have had it hand-delivered. He doesn't need to go and see them. The reason they wanted him to go and see them was not so they could prosecute him. It was so they could check out what he had to say. He doesn't want to tell that story to anybody that's in a position to check it out, because it'll all fall in a heap. He knows it's a load of rubbish. And the fact that he won't go and tell them tells me that he knows it's a load of rubbish. He won't go and talk to Arrow. The fact that he won't go and talk to Arrow tells me he knows it's a load of rubbish. And it should be telling you the same thing. Grush has been on every social media platform that'll have him, telling his stories. So he can hardly say, "I never said that," can he? So he's wide open for prosecution if that's what they want to prosecute him about. If they want to prosecute him about coming forward, they've got more than enough evidence to subpoena him. It's on every global social media platform everywhere in the world. Complete and utter rubbish from Lou Elizondo. Uh, maybe he has been told that. Personally, I doubt it. He's got to find excuses. Actually, I'll come to that. Yeah, the notes are in the wrong order again, as usual. Lou Elizondo has got to find excuses why he can delay the publication of his book. Because as soon as it's out there, the sooner it's going to be destroyed. So he's clutching at straws for something to put in it. So that was Elizondo talking about Grush. Oh, apparently David Grush has cancelled his Salt appearance. Salt is apparently a global investment platform, and Gary Nolan was interviewed at Salt last year, I think it was. You know, and a guy said to him, you know, what do you think the chances of aliens coming to this planet are? And Nolan says, oh, 100%, 100%. But he didn't elaborate on that. He didn't say in front of the Salt audience anything about him being visited by aliens when he was a kid. Aliens stood at the bottom of his bed for weeks on end. Now, personally, I think that's complete and utter rubbish. What do you think? I mean, how realistic do you think that is? Can you just imagine, you're a kid, there's aliens at the bottom of your bed, and they're there every night for weeks on end. Wouldn't you go and tell your parents, hey, look, you know, I've got aliens in my bedroom, Dad or Mum, you know, come and sort this out for me. Ask them what they want at least. You know, they're not communicating with me, they're not telling me what they want. They've just flown light years across the galaxy to stand at the bottom of my bed and look at me all night and every night. And they do this for weeks on end. Now, who out there finds this even remotely plausible? Now, Nolan never mentioned this at his Salt appearance. It's all embellished drivel, all of this stuff, you know. I mean, Nolan said on another interview, you know, a flying saucer comes down, you know, legs extend, the guy gets out, he opens the bonnet, if you like, the hood, fiddles around, closes it, flies away. It's absurd. How right you are, Mr. Nolan. It's absurd. It's as absurd as your ridiculous aliens at the bottom of the bed story. As your alien at the bottom of your bed when you were just about to start your job as a professor, as an adult, and he communicated with you telepathically. You don't tell us what he communicated, do you? It's absurd. It's nonsense. And he says this, the flying saucer coming down and the alien getting out, and he said it's absurd. It's to make us think about it, you know. So when he says that, what does that actually mean? That the aliens are doing that to make us think about being visited by aliens? Is that what he's suggesting? Is he suggesting the story is made up to make us think about it? It's ludicrous. Drivel. All of it. Yeah, maybe they didn't make any money out of Nolan's appearance, but you know, maybe that's why they cancelled Grush. But then there's another ET UFO crash recovery nonsense fanboy taking his place. I can't remember his name now, but he's one of the names that pops up in this UFO UAP recovered alien spacecraft industry. You know, he's one of the core people in the industry. I should have made a note of his name actually. Yeah, Stephen Greenstreet interviewed Sean Kirkpatrick, and I'll leave a link to that interview below because I thought that was really good. And Sean Kirkpatrick is just reiterating basically what was in the Arrow report. There is no evidence of ET coming here, of ever coming here. There's certainly no evidence of crash retrieval programs. It's all complete and utter nonsense. He said that you know, his wife is being harassed, his daughter's being harassed, because there's a core of the UFO believers. It's like a religion, and they won't hear anything else. They don't want to hear there's nothing to it, and because they don't want to hear that, he has to be lying. You know, it can't be that he's telling the truth and there's nothing to it and there never has been. They can't get that into their heads. They can't accept that. So and he said, and he's quite right. You know, they can harass him as much as they like. He can take it. You know, he's been a government employee for a long time. But harassing his daughter and harassing his wife is not on, and of course it isn't. You know, that's completely out of order. These people cannot accept any other answer than "told you, it's all true, we told you." You know, that's the only answer they will accept, regardless of the fact that they can't produce a scrap of tangible evidence to support any of it. Kirkpatrick, it's just a job to Kirkpatrick. You know, he's investigated it and found nothing there. If he found something there, he would have said so. And he says as much. I'll leave a link to that interview below. Now, a lot of the Piffle-Peddlers are making making large of Sean Kirkpatrick saying that he wasn't at a meeting about Skinwalker Ranch. And then Brandon Frugal produced a photo of him at this meeting. Back in 2017 or 2018. Now, to be fair, Sean Kirkpatrick, when he was asked the question, were you attending a meeting about Skinwalker Ranch? What he said was he was invited to attend as a non-government employee at the time, as an independent third-party scientist, to listen to what was being said at an ORSAP presentation and see if there was anything to it. That was why he was there. So technically, he was there to review an ORSAP presentation, and he said as much. So Skinwalker Ranch, put a line through it. I've said it so many times before. It's just complete and utter nonsense. So so he's not lying, Kirkpatrick, is he? I mean, can you imagine all the Piffle-Peddlers are jumping up and down? Oh, Kirkpatrick was lying, he was at the meeting, he knows all about it. He was at the head of the table. If you look at the picture, he's not at the head of the table. You've got the head of the table, and you've got the table there, and he's on the table with the people watching the presentation. And I think it might be Lakatsky's at the head of the table, and it might be something, I can't remember who was standing in front next to the screen doing the presentation about Skinwalker Ranch. But, I mean, I've said it before, you know, if I was in Kirkpatrick's position, I was sitting there and I was watching this and they're talking about werewolves and dino beavers and all this, I would want to distance myself from that. I'd say, did I really, you know, he would have got away and said it's a load of rubbish. He would have been one of the people that told the Pentagon that they were wasting their money paying Bass, Bigelow Aerospace Systems, Bigelow... to investigate this nonsense. I wonder if they were aware that Bigelow owned the ranch at the time. They were paying him to investigate his own ranch. That's what they should be investigating. So yeah, there's no smoking gun there. All the Piffle-Peddlers are jumping up and down. Oh, Kirkpatrick was lying. Kirkpatrick was lying. Well, I don't think he was. If that was me, I would have wanted to distance myself from that bloody Skinwalker Ranch rubbish. I would have said, yeah, I was invited as an independent scientist to go and evaluate a presentation that was being given by ORSAP. Exactly what Kirkpatrick said. Yeah. So, I can't believe this is as far up in the notes as it is, but I'll read it as it's here. I'll get back to Elizondo a little bit later on. I'm sure there's more about Elizondo in these notes, but as usual, I don't have a great deal of time to do this, so I sort of make notes and make a video and read from the notes, and of course I make notes days after some of the notes are made, if you know what I mean. So Jon Stewart, you know, that guy that always looks happy, you know, the fella that's the rubber alien interview fame, video fame. You know, he supports this rubber alien, you know, dimly lit, zero sound, rubber alien. He says it's all real, and I demonstrated in one of my videos. He said he's spoken to all these PhDs, and none of them can tell him what that moving vertical line machine is, monitoring the alien. And I did a video clearly showing it's a common or garden bit of test equipment. It's an oscilloscope with the time base turned off, modulating the x-axis. That's all that is. I left a link to the video because Jon Stewart appeared on one of these fanboy YouTube channels, and he said he's never seen a video of anyone debunking the alien interview video. So I left a link to my video saying, well, here's an opportunity to see one. And you can clearly see, I explained how they do the vertical line. And it was deleted immediately. So the person that runs that channel always deletes all my comments anyway, I don't know why bother. He denied Jon Stewart the opportunity to see a video debunking the alien interview video. Why is that? Why do the Piffle-Peddlers need to immediately delete anything that will make somebody think, oh, wait a minute, yeah, you can see that's what this is, you know? They just don't want you to see that because they want you to believe what they're saying. And that tells me they know it's rubbish. If it was all fact and everything, they'd have nothing to worry about by watching a video of someone saying they've debunked it, because they'd say, well, this is obviously not debunking it, because they can't do that, because it's rubbish. Yeah, apparently Jon Stewart has been known to hassle people via email as well. You know, that have said that he's talking a lot of crap. Well, that's true or not, I don't know, because there's no email associated with this channel. Please feel free to have a go at me below in the comments, Mr. Stewart. Ross Coulthard was interviewing somebody. Now, Ross Coulthard, another fanboy. He will always grab onto something and try and talk up the alien ET aspect of it. And he interviewed someone that had a look over a Space Force base. Space Force is obviously nothing to do with fighting aliens. You know, they have absolutely zero chance of fighting aliens. They got no armed, manoeuvrable, super fast spacecraft. It's complete nonsense. But Coulthard was trying to talk up the ET aspect of it. You know, the guy was saying, the fellow said, yeah, he went there, and he said mostly it's screens and geeks. That's all that's at Space Force base. You know, screens and geeks, because what they're interested in is other nations' satellites. It's war in space between satellites. You know, could an adversarial country's technology in orbit, one of their satellites, interfere with US orbital assets? That's what Space Force is all about. It's nothing to do with aliens. Coulthard saying, oh yeah, but it could also be used against aliens, couldn't it? You know, and of course it can't. Coulthard has no understanding, no concept of the sort of technology that aliens would have to get here. You know, he still thinks, you know, satellites are dustbin with knitting needles sticking out of it. You know, put a machine gun on it and you can shoot down an alien spacecraft. You know, it's got no grasp of any of this stuff. So and he was saying, oh yeah, well, you know, it would have a devastating effect if aliens knocked out satellites and all this sort of stuff, even if terrestrial adversaries knocked out satellites. Because he was saying, you know, a lot of the commercial world uses satellites, and you know, all this sort of stuff. The world's commercial comms would be affected, and that's not true. Military relies heavily on satellites, but banking and commerce and everything else, it's all fibre optic. It's faster, there's less delays. There's a fair amount of delays in satellite communications because they're 23,000 miles above the Earth, you know. So it's far enough away that in the old days, if you made a phone call, intercontinental phone call, through a satellite, you can hear the delays. You know, they're obvious. The delays are enough that you notice them. And even with some of the banking stuff that goes on, you know, with the buying and selling of shares and all that sort of stuff, even the fibre optic comms are not fast enough. They use HF comms because it takes the tiny delay that's in fibre optic comms out. So, you know, he's talking it up and talking it up. He's trying to make it more and more dramatic than it would actually be. And the military can fall back on HF, but the military has HF voice and data comms anyway, so they wouldn't. But they would. It's not a case of them not being able to communicate if their satellite constellation was compromised. Hal Puthoff apparently has been spruiking his usual 0-point energy nonsense. He's been doing this for decades. I don't know why I'm mentioning this, but if anyone interviews Hal Puthoff and he says free energy is real, just ask him if he has electricity bills to pay. Does he have a device in his house for producing free energy, or does he have to pay electricity bills to a utility company? Just one simple question. Just ask Hal Puthoff that, and his answer will tell you whether free energy is real or not. And if he says no, he doesn't, actually, come to think of it, if he says no, he doesn't have any electricity bills to pay, ask him if he has solar power installed at his house. Or if he's taking energy from the 0 point. Nobody asked him this. Michael Herrera's team leader says, you know the Michael Herrera story, he sort of came and went, really, another whistleblower. I had this experience in Indonesia, big spacecraft, you know. It was perfectly silent, you know, and the interviewer said, so it made no noise at all. So he said, well, it made this sort of whining noise, you know, it's perfectly silent spacecraft that made a whining noise. Put a line through him. His team leader says he was with him, there was no aliens, no alien spacecraft, it's all poppycock and balderdash and piffle. So put a line through Michael Herrera. And Jason Sands, of course. I mentioned that last time. I don't know why I wasted my time with Jason Sands, but forget it. Oh, this is another note regarding Lou Elizondo. Actually, I'm going to stop this video here because it's coming up for half an hour, and it records in half an hour blocks, and I have to join them up. So I'll say thanks for watching and stay tuned for part 2, which is coming immediately.